Hey guys, it is midnight or thereabouts, and I was just in there sleeping on the couch 15 minutes ago, and I woke up and I had to do this movie for you guys. This is a Transcending with Gary video. There's a lot I want to talk about because there's some strange stuff that's been happening today. So let me be specific. I woke up from having a dream in which I was making this video for you guys, and I wasn't sure whether I had actually made the video or not, and it was a really weird deja vu feeling. And here it is after midnight, and I just had to get the camera, come outside, and make this video for you guys, because that is just how out of sorts I felt about it. I just thought I had already done it, and I was upset that it wasn't done. So here it is. I'm making the video. So as you guys all know, I am reading The Road Less Traveled, and I'm at the final section of the book, which is the discussion on grace, okay? And grace is not what I would think that would be classified. He's talking about through the love and grace of God, spirituality, we are more than we think we are, okay? I'm only, a few pages into this section, but the first thing he talks about, which is very strange, is all the times in your life that you've been saved by grace and not even realized that miracles are happening around us all of the time, okay? And as he's going through a few examples of, almost being run over by a car and a few things that happened to him, he says, you, the reader, are probably thinking of times in your own life right now where this has happened to you. And it instantly got me thinking, yeah, he's right. There have been many times in my life where things have happened and I have narrowly avoided severe injury, if not death. And I'm sure you guys have had the same things happen, okay? I'm going somewhere with this. Now, he also mentions synchronicity in this section, right? He says that grace is linked to synchronicity. So if you're not familiar, synchronicity are the strange coincidental things that happen in life. And I have read the Deepak Chopra book on synchronicity. I forget the title of it, but we talked about that on this channel as well. It's on my bookshelf. I've read it. Synchronicity. You think of someone you haven't seen in years, and all of a sudden, within seconds, the phone rings, and there's your friend calling you, right? Strange things happening. That we are all linked in ways that we don't know or can't explain, right? That everything in the universe is one. This is what he's talking about. And so a lot of things have happened just today that since reading that half chapter, I'm not even through that section of the book, that I just felt that I had to do this video because it has really opened my mind. Starting with this whole concept that he has, that he wants you to bring forth and think about, do humans have the ability to save themselves? Is this an innate human thing that, we can almost see the future and avoid things? In car accidents and things like that, where people get out of wrecks that they never should have survived. Is that a human having the ability to transform the space around them? And you know what? When he mentioned that in the book, I have to tell you guys, that has happened to my cousin, okay? He fell asleep at the wheel after working a really long shift at work. He was sick. He got into an accident on a bridge, and his car slammed into the side of the bridge and then actually turned right around 360 degrees, and both ends of the car got smashed. And I guess he fell over in the car. And anyway, when they pulled him out, they showed pictures of this, and every one of us said, how the heck did he... There's no way he should have survived. Every space in that car was completely obliterated except for where he fell down. They used the jaws of life to get him out and everything, and he spent close to a month in the hospital after that with concussions and whatever else. But he survived, okay? And this is one of those examples that was in the book, and I'm thinking, yeah, that exact thing I know somebody that happened to. So his thought process on that is something external saving a human in an instance like that? Is it just a synchronicity? Is it just a whoops, the universe, is it just coincidence that this person survived? Or do humans have the ability to transform the area around them, or time and space? So it's a whole mind-opening thing. And where I'm going with this is the chapter I'm reading this afternoon before we head out to the cottage. And we went out to see my mother and father-in-law for Thanksgiving dinner tonight. We're doing it a day early because my daughter actually has a sporting event scheduled for tomorrow. And so we went out and spent a fantastic afternoon, had a great turkey dinner. Thanks for asking. Anyway, my mother-in-law starts telling us this story. She says that a couple of days ago, she was washing her hair in the kitchen sink where she always does. And for some reason, she left the sink. I missed why, but she left the sink. And in the 10 seconds that she left the sink, she has this great big metal, it's like a window hanging. It's a moose inside of a metal frame with the sun behind him, and it's this great big heavy thing, and it's hanging up in the loft area above the kitchen sink, hanging in the window, and the chain that was holding it up broke. And it came down and took a huge chunk out of the counter, and then hit the floor and took a huge chunk out of the floor. And she said, had I been there in the sink washing my hair, I would probably be dead right now. Okay, and instantly, I've just been reading about humans avoiding death and synchronicities, and then here my mother-in-law starts telling me this story. So that was the first strange thing that happened to me today that, really got me thinking. It's like a whole mind-opening thing, right? This book that I'm reading right now, I feel that The Road Less Traveled was presented to me at this late stage in my life because it has eye-opening things for me to think about. I don't think I was ready to read this book before this time in my life, right? So I innately feel that. Like, things are happening to me as I'm reading about them. Examples, Anyway, it's making me think. So then we come home tonight. Now this is, some people are going to say this isn't really anything to do with synchronicity but my wife and I sat down on the couch, and we don't usually watch movies together at night. Sometimes we watch series together, but we're both kind of tired from a long day out at the cottage. I said, hey, you want to just throw a movie on and we'll watch? So I flick on Disney, and there's Free Guy. Well, I don't know what Free Guy is. My daughter says, oh, it's like the Lego movie. And I'm thinking, okay, an animated whatever. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't really plan on watching this. I plan on vegging out. So, okay, yeah, let's just throw on Free Guy. Well, Free Guy, if you haven't watched it, is about artificial intelligence. Characters that are in a game world that isn't real, and they've been scripted. They don't know they're real. And so I watched this whole movie, again, thinking about us, as very possibly being scripted, not real entities, right? We could be. And why this is so powerful and important to me right now is because there's more to this, okay? Because Gary was meditating the other day. You guys all know that I keep asking myself the question and asking the universe, what is the point of being here? And so I thought, well, I'm going to meditate on it. I really want to think about what is the purpose of being here. And we've talked on it a little bit, is it to learn life lessons? And I kind of don't think it is, because we would have some memory, right? I think that we would be building upon previous lives, because I kind of have the feeling throughout my life that not only have I lived before, but that I've lived this life before. As I've told you guys, things have happened where I've deja vu, where I've known what's going to happen before it actually happens, okay? So this is kind of where my train of thought comes from. Over the last 9-10 years, I've been thinking, is there anything to this? Could I have lived before? I always questioned for years, why are we here? Where are we going? And then one day it just kind of hit me. That's not the important question. The important question is, where did we come from? I think that is the real question. If we could answer that, that would answer where we're going. So where I kind of went with that thought pattern was, it doesn't really matter where we're going. It doesn't really matter where we came from because it happened. It's just enough to know that whatever process created me happened in the first place. My consciousness as it is, whether it just spontaneously sprung into being, you know, whatever it was I designed by God? Was I designed by a programmer? Did I just spontaneously appear here? It doesn't matter. All that matters is that it happened. And then with that thought came the thought that if it happened once, it would more than likely happen again, or could happen again. And I really shouldn't worry about where I came from or where I'm going, which kind of led me down the path of you just need to enjoy this experience because it's almost like this is just a free ride. Like whatever's going to happen, we can't change it. I know we spend our lives worrying about that, but anyway, that's where one train of thought went. Back to my meditation from earlier in the week. Earlier in the week, I decided to sit down and think about this in a deeper way of what the process would be if this was to be a learning experience and Gary was here multiple times, hundreds of times, thousands of times, millions of times, okay? If that were the case, if we are infinite, we are all part of the great one being, as many people say, you know, we're all interconnected, okay? That would mean we already possess a lot of knowledge, but in that instance, we're being sent back here to learn emotional things or things that we can't necessarily experience in that other form. Okay, this is just one theory, right, of why we're here. So I went down that whole thought process of if that was the case, what would the eventual outcome be? And I realized that after thousands or millions of times of doing this, we would eventually become more and more and more powerful to the point of omniscience, right? Knowing everything. And then you would have to say, after that, what would the point be? If you're not growing and learning, and instantly when I thought of that, Gary had a panic attack, just a small one. But the whole response happened through my body, right? Like instantly the heart started beating faster. I'm like, oh God, instantly broke out in a sweat, like, because I got snapped out of my meditation, like, that would mean again that we're just in a pointless loop, right? Like, where do you go once you've learned everything, once you've done all the lessons that you were sent here to do? So I don't know. I don't know what to say or think. All I know is that too many crazy things are happening to Gary lately. My mind is just opening at an expanding rate. You know, between reading this book and then these stories that I heard today and the movie tonight and all, it's just, it's more than a coincidence. I know that. So, and then now with this whole thought process of trying to figure out, you know, if I'm here for a life lesson and okay, fine, that's great. And go through that process multiple times and coming to the conclusion that in the end, eventually all these life questions will be answered. And I, again, would come full circle to not having a purpose. So for me, that can't be why we're here, because it would create a loop of eventually you would have to go back to the point of just saying, I need to start over and some very low basic form of life to start over. Like if you, basically we would all be gods at that point, would we not? And if we were all gods, what would the point of coming back here to work on ourselves be? Nothing. We would already be perfect, right? Somebody back me up. Comments, please. Lots of comments below. Again, I'm just rambling. I'm thinking out loud, but these are all of the things I'm trying to get you guys. You know, I'm touching on many things very quickly because that's the way my mind and my week has been, okay? It's just a week of reading, meditation, weird movies. And it's midnight, and Gary can't sleep. You know why I can't sleep? Because I fell asleep on the couch, and I woke up, and we've kind of touched on this before too, so I'll just throw this in this video. Weird stuff happens to Gary when he sleeps, okay? I know I'm not crazy because my brother and my mother have both said that this has happened to them, and I'm pretty sure my aunt said this as well. Sometimes I've been known to wake up more often at night in a strange place. Okay, if I had to go to a hotel for work and I was not at home and I was in a different city in a hotel and I wake up in a dark room, I wake up in a panic. And not only just a panic of, oh God, where am I? I wake up and I don't know where I am, who I am, what I am. There is no, I'm basically running into the wall or the door. Yeah, I've done that in just a blind panic. And literally I've had my wife grab me and say, where are you going? Maybe I'm not fully awake. I don't know. But this has happened. And there is like a lack of Gary. There is a lack of consciousness there. It takes me 30 seconds or a minute to snap back into this form, right? Strange as it sounds, it has happened to my mother and my brother, and possibly, I'm pretty sure my aunt said her as well. So I'm not the only one in the family that this has happened to. The other weird thing that happens to Gary when he sleeps, honest to God, guys, like, you can't make this stuff up. I've talked about it, and it's happened many times. I fall asleep watching sports at night, okay? Late night, I used to tape all the Leaf games, and I would, start the recording when I get home at 11 or 12 after work, and, within an hour, you're falling asleep. And even live games, okay, this has happened just last year, 3, 4, 5 times. I would fall asleep, okay, sleep for, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I no longer know what the score of the game is or what's going on in the game because I've been dreaming, I'm sleeping. But when I wake up, I'm like listening to the announcers and watching the game, and I'm like coming from the future. Like I know what they're going to say before they say it. Has that ever happened to any of you guys? Honest to God, this has happened multiple times to me. I know the Leafs are going to score in 10 seconds, right? And I know who's going to score. And I know, or the Leafs are going to lose the game, or whatever it is. And it's not a large period of time. Like, I don't know 20 minutes from now. Like, I'm not a full period. But I am a few seconds wherever I was when I was sleeping, dreaming on the couch. Wasn't here. And I know when I come back, it's like I'm like, many times I wake up and I was confused. Like, I've already seen this part of the game, and I was thinking this had something to do with me watching a recording, right? But then I realized even live games, when I would fall asleep, I'm like, this isn't a recorded game. There's no way I saw this or knew this was going to happen, and yet I knew, right? So we've talked about that on the channel before. I know some of you guys think that's absolutely nuts and crazy, but I'm sure there's got to be somebody out there that has happened to, and it happens to me many times. And I use the sporting one because that's when it seems to happen to me. I don't ever remember that happening in a movie, only sporting events. Has that ever happened to any of you guys? Anyway, my mind is abuzz. I'm probably not going to sleep tonight. But that's kind of where Gary is at with this whole, I'm trying to test the mental boundaries of going through the processes of, okay, if we think this is a learning experience, what would happen if it is? If we think this is a vacation, what would happen if we think it is? And that's kind of the route, that's kind of where I think Gary is at mentally with why we're here. I honestly I'm more and more convinced that that's all this is. Honestly, guys, this is some kind of vacation. I'm just going to come out and say it because I already sound nuts. I feel like I already am some kind of omnipresent something somewhere else as a better, smarter, fully in touch, fully intact with the universe Gary. And this is just a small part of me. And I chose to come here to get away from that like some kind of vacation. That's where my mind is going with this, okay? And maybe I haven't said it before because I just haven't been completely honest, but that's where all the meditation, that's where all the books that I'm reading, the synchronicity, that's where all of these things are pointing Gary's mind. Do any of you guys feel that way, think that way? And there's another book, I have to think of the name of it. The Spontaneous Fulfillment of Desire was the Deepak Chopra book about synchronicity. Okay, if you haven't read that one, again, it's delving into whether we have the power to use our minds to realize interconnectedness and get the things we want simply by visualizing, wanting, and telling the universe this is what we want, okay? So that's the first book. That kind of got me into opening my mind about that thought process that we can have anything we want simply by desiring it, okay? Now, I do want to talk about one other book, which I don't know if I've mentioned it before on the channel or not, but it was kind of the first one that got me into opening up my mind to the possibility that we are more than we think we are, even though that's not the main point of the book, was The Alchemist. Okay, another famous, very simple story filled with life lessons, okay, basic learning for everyone. There are so many simple lessons in that book that are reminders of things that people have told you throughout your life to chase your dreams, you know, don't let anything slow you down. Again, you can have anything you want and desire. That we have more power than we know and think. And that was the first book that got me thinking about this whole duality of Gary here and Gary there and somehow being connected. And so anyway, I know, again, a ton of rambling tonight in this video, but two things that I wanted to share were those two books with you guys and just these concepts that are floating around in my head and all this weird synchronicity that's going on. So let me know what you guys think down below. Have you read those two books? If you haven't, I suggest you do. And maybe we could even break down, you know, The Alchemist would be a great one. There were so many things in that book. I should probably go back and read it again. It's been 3 or 4 years since I read that. That's the other thing I want to tell you guys. If you read a really good book, I can tell you unequivocally, read it again at some point in the future. Not right away. Don't read a book and reread it 6 months, but wait a year or two, read it again, and you will get new things every time you read a book. There are so many things that we just kind of gloss over. You know, our mind can only stay focused for so long. So sometimes you read a really exceptionally long chapter, you know, 15, 16 pages. By the end of it, other things are going on. Kids are running around in the background, the dog's barking, the neighbor came over for a beer, whatever it is, you've just missed a large section. And it's always a good idea to go back, especially if you've enjoyed a book and got a lot from it the first time. I guarantee there is more to gain from going back and reading these books again. The Alchemist and the Spontaneous Fulfillment of Desire by Deepak Chopra. I forget who The Alchemist was written by. So the whole point of this Transcending with Gary series is to document my thoughts, feelings, the things that are happening to me as I go through this process. And I've been going through this process a long time, right, guys? But I really feel like there's an exponential expansion of my mind happening, you know, just over the last year, just through this Surviving Together series, just through this new Transcending series, the books that we've talked about, I'm reading, the things that are, it just seems to me that as I delve more into this subject, new things keep popping up. Like someone will recommend a book or someone, Bob Proctor. I've never heard of Bob Proctor. If you haven't heard of Bob Proctor, look up Bob Proctor. Somebody sent me a link and I watched a video on Bob Proctor. I'm going to link that video down below. Again, this guy was super intelligent. Everything he says in this video that I'll link below, I agree with, you know? And again, because I started this series and because I'm sharing with you guys, somebody shared that with me. And it's speeding up the process of opening Gary's mind. I know I'm throwing a lot of stuff out here tonight, guys. My mind is working a mile a minute, and that's why I'm out here making this video, because I already had a 10-minute nap on the couch earlier. So, hey, I'm not going to sleep for a couple hours now. So anyway. All right, I've got to sign off, sneak back in the house because I'm outside and Gage starts barking and he's going to wake everybody up. It's probably 12:30 in the morning right now, so I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.